Hello guys, welcome to Machiavelli TV. So, as you can see from the title of this video, it is going to link the new phenomenon that is Pokemon Go and the supposed aspects of how it helps people be more outgoing. I'm going to connect that with my experiences, which started many years ago, and obviously led me to this state I am now, where I've pretty much overcome most of my social anxiety. So, for those of you that have been living under a rock, Pokemon Go is a game based on it is the Nintendo game where you have to catch these Pokemon, which are these made up animals. Now, with Pokemon Go, you have an app on your phone which allows you to go out into the real world and catch Pokemon. The Pokemon are based in real life locations, dotted around in Google Apps. So you walk around, and you just, when you go to that real life location, you catch it. Well, at least that's what I'm assuming. I've not really looked into it, so you probably can go into it more through other resources. But the point is, to link this, what people have noticed is that this obviously causes people to actually go out into the real world and locations. So it's unlike many other games where you are stationary in your bedroom. You have to, in order to progress in this game, not only go out in your daily life, but you have to go out of your way to go to places where you wouldn't normally go to in order to achieve the highest status and get the highest number of Pokemon. Otherwise it's pretty much impossible. So what people have noticed is that people that are less outgoing, they're more introverted, more prone to staying in their rooms, are becoming more outgoing. And it's even the case where they're saying it's helping agoraphobics or people with social anxiety, because it actually gives them an incentive to go out. So this is the reason why I found that particular aspect quite common with what I went through, is because it was those same sort of motives that actually got me to be outgoing as well. So I'm not a fan. I don't play Pokemon Go, and I'm not going to, because quite simply, I don't play video games anyway. I stopped playing video games avidly probably about just over about 10 to 12 years ago, which ironically is probably this time when I started actually overcoming my social anxiety. Yes, you can make a little connection there. So what I did when I wanted to when I decided that this is something that you actually have to conquer, right? I decided that the best thing was to be outgoing and try to talk to strangers. So what I did was I set myself weekly targets of, first of all, it was making eye contact. So, for example, I started off with something like making eye contact with one person a day, one stranger a day walking past for every day for a week, and then increase it depending on how that goes. The fact is, I could do it 5 times a day after a certain amount of continuing to do this. And then it got into saying hello to people in bus stop, walking down the street. That increased because I've set targets for it. And then it came to making conversations with people. So for myself, I was living in London at the time, so it was bus stops where I would say hello and then try to extend it. set myself a target of, I think it was once a week. Once a week, you'd have a free, if there was a freeway exchange of conversation. It's quite a hard way to say it. So I'd say, let's say, if a conversation lasts for about 30 seconds, I'd make that count as one. So the point is, what I'm trying to make, and the connection with Pokemon Go, is to do that. Obviously, you can't be in your house at the time. So it did encourage me to go outside. Not only that, rather than the safe routes of what I would normally go to, the quiet areas, firstly, in London, it's so busy, and there's so many different places within a small location. So you could literally go to, if for me, if it was going to a park or going to a bus stop or going to a town down a high street, you're literally about 5 or 10 minutes away from another high street. So what happens is, you don't want to go around going around up and down the same high street, looking, obviously doing the same thing every day. So what that encouraged me to do was to go different high streets, different towns, and so I was exploring more areas. This was both in London, in my hometown, wherever I wanted to go. I had to hit that target, that weekly target, and it was a point where I was so addicted. I was addicted to it. It was fun. It was, it got me out of the house. It got me talking to people, and it got me enjoying the. I like the thrill. I like the chase. It was even the case was where my cutoff date would normally be on a Sunday. So if I didn't hit a target, I'll go home Sunday evening, 8 o'clock, sort of dejected. And then by 9 o'clock at night, I'll probably go out of the house again just to hit that target. So I can imagine that being for a lot of Pokemon Go players. They're constantly encouraged to go outside, they're being pushed. It's the addiction aspect, but it's a positive addiction, provided obviously there's aspects of Pokemon Go that are it does have its negative sides, which I'm not really gonna go into because they don't really have much to do with this topic at hand. But as long as those players aren't disrespectful or don't get themselves in potentially harmful situations, then it's all good. It did look a bit weird, to be honest, when I went to a park. I went only recently. I think it was about 3 days ago. I was cutting through a park at night, and all you saw was just like loads of kids, groups of kids around, and they weren't talking to each other. They were on their phones. So I'm thinking, that's a bit odd. And then you saw kids running around on their phones, and you're thinking, damn, they're playing Pokemon Go. They could be playing Pokemon Go. I don't know if it's available in the UK yet, but yeah, it gets people out. And another thing I wanted to say, back when I was going out, trying to say hello or make eye contact or talk to people, etc., I found, especially in order to hit the target quickly, it's easier to go to places where there are obviously more people. So if you can walk, if you walk down the street and make eye contact with 5 people in about 1 minute, your target's done for the day. So that encouraged me to go to crowded places, where, as we know, with social anxiety, we tend to not like crowded places. But because I had that target in mind, not only was I encouraged to go to crowded places, I sought crowded places. Crowded places were, they were a gold mine for me, as opposed to being a hindrance. So it really reversed my psychology there. What if people right today who are trying to overcome it, who are serious about overcoming social anxiety, that's what I mean, serious, then, take those aspects and have repeated targets. I can tell that you're not serious if you only do it once and then say, oh, yeah, I made contact with one person, and then try to draw conclusions from that, or I spoke to one person one time and tried to draw conclusions from that. You need to be doing it in a repetitive. It needs to be a campaign, right? If you're only going to do it one time, I suggest don't do it at all. And you have to if like I said, if you're not going to take it serious, you might as well just concentrate on, I don't know, school or work or studying or something, and put it into something that you actually want to do. You're actually passionate about accomplishing. You know, we all want this and that, but if we're not passionate about accomplishing it, it's not going to happen. So there's no point in wasting time trying to pursue it. If you want to do these, if you want to go out and talk to strangers in a way that will actually change your life, then it has to be planned, has to be coordinated. I've done videos on this before, so yeah, you can have a look at those as well. And the irony of this is when you've done it to a certain point, right, you realize that the improvements that I've done in terms of the improvements I was going through when I was going outside, going into crowded places, it was all in conjunctions with other areas of my life, other things that I was doing, which I haven't thus far mentioned in this video. But that's probably going to be for another video entirely. And that video will probably negate the value of what I've been talking about now, as in the impact that these tasks I've mentioned have had on my life. But you know, I'm just giving you that little aspect. So yeah, that's what I've noticed about that. You know, you need to be outgoing. You need to be out of the house, like Pokemon Go. You're not gonna achieve anything by sitting in your house. Okay, so even with social anxiety or agoraphobia, people say that you're trying to look around for that solution online. I recognize the irony that you're watching this video now, but I'm telling you, just get out of your house and whatever you're planning to do, whatever you want to do, whether it's making eye contact or keeping your head up, which is what I've done, or holding your chest out, or these things, don't just do it one day. You know, do it. I'd suggest 3 times a day, no, 3 times a week. If you have an extreme case, then try to make eye contact with someone probably about 3 to 5 times a week over 8 weeks. That's what I'd recommend, and just see where you want to go from there. But it's up to you. So yeah, always be outgoing. And if you're playing Pokemon Go and you know, if you think that's a way to make you outgoing, then as long as you're not harming yourself or anybody else, go for it. Me, like I said, I don't play games, so you know, life is enjoyable enough, and there's a whole real world out there that will definitely keep me out of the house. So, with that note, I'm gonna just go into town right now. So, take care, and I'll see you next time.